Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Draft Day. I am John Fleming and I'm going to warn everybody that I keep running into issues with any off-season where there's an expansion team. It is extremely annoying, but I'm going to try to do what I can to avoid any instance happening. I may have to jump in and kind of save games as it goes along, just so I don't feel like I'm completely wasting my time, but let's just go on to the next screen. As you may remember, St. Louis Spirits, NBA champions of the 1987-88 season in just their fourth season of play. And let's see what happens in our efforts to have this not just be a one-time thing, but have this be a legitimate NBA title contender year in, year out. So player retirements: Alvin Adams, Lionel Hollins, Bill Walton, Mitch Kupchak, Eddie Jordan. Bill Walton's the only one of those guys that's a Hall of Famer in real life, but just based on how high of a standard they have for Hall of Famers in this game, don't expect them to be getting that notification. Kelly Howard retired as a team doctor for the Suns. Nathan Thomas is a CFO at large. And Terrence Gordon, though, from the Spirits as head scout has retired. So we may be looking at a new head scout. As you can see here, the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets are added as expansion teams. Rule change the number of officials to 3. Warriors, logo, uniforms, and floor are changing. I guess they are so embarrassed from having lost in the finals to us. League meetings, all that stuff. Possession arrow was the closest rejected thing, which there are not very many jump balls in this game, so pretty irrelevant, but that's just what it says. Decrease the shot clock to 20 seconds. Actually, I have had that rule come up and be approved like in the future in one of these games before. It actually makes the games pretty fun. Really kind of adds just like a little bit of a jolt. You know, not so much that it's like crazy or impossible to listen to or play, but it is like the equivalent of like when you speed up a podcast to like 1.1 or 1.2. It's not totally off the wall or irrational, but we're going to go ahead and accept. So league realignment, actually, with the new teams that are on the East Coast, puts the St. Louis Spirits in the Western Conference. So that's going to be something new for us. But don't really like how they've aligned some of the divisions in terms of like the logic of them. So like you have Seattle and Sacramento, which obviously are two teams that play, literally on states bordering the Pacific Ocean. They should not be in the Midwest Conference. I assume that's because they have franchise ties to the Midwest. The Kings just came from Kansas City. Seattle will end up going to Oklahoma City in the future. For now, though, I think they belong in the Pacific Division, and then we can move Denver and Utah, who are the two non-Pacific time zone teams. Let's bring those back. So now we're going to have a Midwest division that is going to be St. Louis, which is the one team that plays on like the strip of states that are just west of the Mississippi. 2 mountain time zone teams in Denver and Utah, and then 3 teams in Texas. So I think there is a logic there to that. And then the Pacific is all teams who are from, other than Phoenix, all teams that are in the Pacific bordering states. Then Phoenix, of course, they have the whole time change thing that's been consistent throughout the years, but I think they make sense there. Looking at the Atlantic Division, I would be okay with this as a division, but it does seem a little bit weird to me that they put Miami and Charlotte both in the Central. So I'm going to go ahead and switch Miami and Cleveland, and I'm going to go ahead and switch Charlotte as a new team in the Atlantic Division. So the Atlantic Division is going to have 2 expansion teams. So in theory, that's going to kind of dilute things, but also it's going to mean there's just more competition. So in theory, so we'll see. So, there's a few really good teams in that division. Boston, Sixers, Bullets have been well in there. They have Michael Jordan. But I think this makes sense going forward for all of this. So the draft lottery, both of the times that I've tried to do this, the Spirits have ended up with the exact same picks. So I'm not sure if it's like a pre-programmed thing or if that was just coincidence. But let's just see what happens here. So as you can see here, the Spirits in theory have a 37.5% chance of the number one overall pick. Hopefully we can at least get something to move up. Sonics do not move up here. Now, if the Pacers do move up, that's where I'm going to get suspicious. Oh, the Pacers don't move up, so might be truly random draw here. I know it's going to seem like I'm like trying to rig the lottery or something, but this is almost certainly going to be a Spirits pick unless all three of our spots moved up. This means the Spirits have leapfrogged in the top three. Sweet. So we have a top three pick. If we could have this not be the Spirits, that would be amazing, but I don't want to be greedy. Okay, we'll take it. Number 7 and number 8. So number 6 is going to be, we know it's not going to be us, and it's the Nets. And now we know that 5 and 4 are going to be the expansion team. So this is going to be Miami and Charlotte. And then there were 3. Fingers crossed that we move up as high as we can. Cavs go to number 3. So now it's going to be the Spirits or the Nuggets. We are going number 2 overall. As I've mentioned, I'm really interested in Mitch Richmond. I think that would be just like a perfect fit for this team. But I'm not really sure who the Nuggets are going to go for. Well, we'll have to see. But there we go. So that is what we have. So now I'm going to go to the trade screen. So the reason I want to make a trade is just to kind of clear up some room so we can protect more of our players for the upcoming expansion draft. And the trade that I made last time is I traded Dennis Johnson. Let's just see what's offered now. So the Heat actually offered this package last time. It was a number 5 pick and then a 92 first round pick for Dennis Johnson and our second round pick in 92. There was one other one other trade that really, there it is. This is the trade we made last time. Admittedly, it's a little bit less necessary because last time we didn't move up to the top 3. So the number 4 pick was going to be like the basis of us moving up. But I still think this makes a lot of sense. I think that with these picks, we can certainly get Mitch Richmond, even if we have to pay a premium. And if not Mitch Richmond, we can get like a good shooting guard. We're not going to need all these first round picks, but it's going to put us in a position to possibly have a really good pick next year too. So let's go ahead and make this trade. Dennis Johnson, played 2 years for us, did well, and good role player, but ultimately not like a premium scorer. And I feel like we can get somebody who fits that mold a little better. Even if we can't, honestly, we have Scottie Pippen sitting on the bench with Chris Mullins starting. All right, staff signing. Let's see if we can retain our head coach and get a head scout here. So Michael Stouffer's the guy who we had last time, and he's just like the perfect coach. Obviously, we got to offer this guy everything we can. So we're going to give him the maximum contract at our total team budget. We'll see if he accepts it. If he does, great. If he doesn't, we'll have to figure out somebody, but we're going to just have to do the best we can. Michael West has a 5-star analytics, and he's got some pretty good badges, and it says 100%. So, yeah, let's offer that up. They both rejected our offers. The Stouffer one is really disheartening, but let's go ahead and make a run at this guy at the top here. Gordon Harrison, he's a similar skill set. Stouffer, similar scheme. And as far as the head scout, so this guy, Kenneth Young, has good potential and good analytics, and is at 100%, which I don't really know what to make of it. It said that last time too. So we got Kenneth Young. He is signed. We'll see if we can get Gordon Harrison. Still declining. So, yeah, now we're at a point where we really want to just get somebody to be our head coach who we think is going to make sense. We think is going to be good for this team. Otis Newman makes sense? Not really. Sean Moore would be pretty good, though, because he's got some good ratings. Honestly, a defensive system with some of the guys we have, let's go for Sean Moore. Let's offer him our job, and hopefully he says yes, he does. Okay. So Sean Moore is going to be our new head coach, taking over for Michael Stouffer, which I don't know that head coaching continuity really makes much of a difference in here. I would have liked to have Stouffer back, but I'm not going to whine too much about it. Get through the combine, pre-draft workouts. Let's work out all the B minuses. How many C pluses are left? This will maybe scouted. There's 7 of them, and we've 7 invites left. Perfect. So get those guys. So I am going to just go straight into the screen. In theory, I'd like to check out the scouting screen, see how those guys ended up looking, but we're just going to move forward. Okay, so we have to leave at least one player exposed. So Muggsy Bogues, in theory, I guess I should have probably just gotten, like in that Charlotte trade, I should have just gotten some mediocre player because there's not that many guys being protected here. But Muggsy's probably the guy to go. Yeah, he was number 23 overall last year. Doesn't necessarily have a lot of impact, especially if we keep Spud Webb. Yeah, I think that Muggsy is the guy who we can kind of let go of the most. My preference would still be that they not draft him, but let's see what happens. Reggie Williams, just kind of watch the names. There's Muggsy Bogues. He's going to go to the Hornets just like he did in real life. So, tough loss for us to lose out on Tyrone, but honestly, some decent overall players getting drafted here. Oh, did I screw this up? Oh, come on. Get me out of this screen. Okay, cool. Oof. I'm just going to simulate the rest of the draft. This is giving me nightmares. But, there. Exit the draft. And now it's NBA draft time. Now we should be okay from all these freezing issues. So the 2 best players are Danny Manning and Mitch Richmond. Danny Manning honestly wouldn't be a bad fit either for us. Getting Dave DeBusschere comps. Mitch Richmond's getting Pete Maravich comps. I have to say, as much as I've talked up Mitch Richmond, it's not like he's like an unbelievable prospect. He just, I think, fits what we're doing. Sporting News is actually picking them to take Danny Manning. Where is Mitch Richmond? They have us taking him at number 4. That's not happening. We're going to take Mitch Richmond at 2 if he's available. Do we want to try to trade up with the Nuggets just to lock him in? Let's gamble. Because honestly, the cost of the trade up, if that doesn't work out, probably isn't terrible. And they took Mitch Richmond. So let's try to call up the Nuggets. I guess I could have looked at the Nuggets roster and seen. Well, they have Petrovic though, so they have like a good shooting guard already. But okay, no, I don't want to do. Don't want that. Mitch Richmond. So we can trade the number 2 and the number 8 pick. We would get Mitch Richmond, and we would get Kevin Gamble. Do I want Kevin Gamble? The 76, which is okay, but let's see what his kind of other numbers look like. He's got good perimeter defense. Kind of want to see what his free throw shot was, see if he was going to basically just be what Jeff Turner was. And the answer is, sort of. Do I want to make this trade? Probably. What if I got Kevin Gamble off of there, and instead they offered me either somebody else? What if it was a draft pick? What if they offered me, how about like a 92 pick? This is far enough removed, they might not even be thinking about it. Will they do this trade? They will. All right, great. So we have a future pick coming, and we got the guy that we wanted all along. So Denver's, wow. Did not see Rod Strickland coming there. Do I want to try to make a move to try to get Danny Manning? I'm gonna say no, just because Willie Anderson would also be pretty good. Charles Smith also gets the DeBuscher comps. Rick Smith is up there. Again, we're not going to end up using all these picks, I don't think, but there are some pretty good players available. So Chris Morris from Auburn goes here. I think that this is where we go the Danny Manning route. He might be the best overall player in this draft, and he's a true power forward. And honestly, having the leverage that if we wanted to get rid of or make some sort of move to get rid of Brad Doherty and get something else, could work out. But for now, yeah, Danny Manning it is. So, two really good, the two best players in the draft for my money, both on this team. Okay, so we're at number 7. Huh, okay. There are some players I like here. There really are. That said, I kind of want to see what we could get for this pick because I don't think that any of these guys are essential. Several teams are offering us a couple firsts, but also these teams are pretty not that great. So when I say they're not that great, I mean their future value of their picks aren't quite as high. You know what? I think I might check out Rick Smith's a little closer. So he's got a Nate Thurman comp for player comp. Okay. He's a 7'4" guy, not much offensively, but brings a lot defensively. Seems like a guy who could really blossom into like a solid backup for Hakeem, right? I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, Rick Smits, there we go. Nuggets going for Ronnie Cycli. Yeah, I'm not going to make any of these, so let's just simulate to the next user pick and see. Vinny Del Negro, I mean, honestly, some decent players available even here, too. Vinny Del Negro, Liddell Eccles is the guy that we scouted. Steve Kerr, Anthony Mason, RIP, Avery Johnson, some interesting names. Though at this point, I definitely am leaning towards the trade down, if possible. I don't want to make that So the Lakers are offering us an unprotected, and granted, the Lakers are good. They're getting a little older. Let's do that trade. Let's offer our pick to the Lakers. They'll get someone fine, I guess. They'll get Avery Johnson. Okay. Looks like we're getting offered trades for this pick too. Sixers are offering us 2 unprotected. The problem is I don't want to get rid of that Hornets pick because that's probably going to be honestly more valuable than either of the Sixers picks that are offered, which doesn't make the deal unfair or anything. We're just not getting like a premium for this pick, which I mean it's literally the last pick of the draft of the first round, so it's not a huge deal that we get a premium, but it's nice if you can get it. All right, Detroit Pistons have yeah, let's go with the Pistons. They're getting a little older. Haven't really made a huge move yet. They get Anthony Mason. So Steve Kerr is an interesting player that's definitely out there. The reason I say it's interesting is because second round picks, you can just draft them, see what their ratings are, and then decide whether you want to sign them. I don't necessarily want to trade up to get it. So if Kerr falls here, I'd be pretty excited. It looks like he will. So Steve Kerr, you have been drafted by the St. Louis Spirits. Obviously a guy who's an awesome three-point shooter just throughout his career in the NBA. And having a guy like that kind of specialist could make a lot of sense. Okay, now which complete coin toss guy are we going to take? Craig Neal, yeah, NA's only 2 weaknesses, so that's nice. All right, let's take Craig Neal. I can't imagine we're going to sign him, but something. Yeah, Mitch Richmond's an 81 overall. Danny Manning's an 81 overall. We kind of knew that Willie Anderson was going to be the higher rating, but we have a bunch of small forwards anyway. So I am pretty elated about how this draft went for us. So get to the rookie signing, Richmond. Okay, yeah, absolutely on these guys. Curtis 74. I declined the Craig Neal deal, but I think we have something pretty special here. I think we're probably going to be capped out, but also this team's really good, so we can probably live with that. Team options: Chris Mullen, yes. Doherty, yes. I'm not sure that Brad Doherty is necessarily going to be here for the long haul, but just given these circumstances, I think that this is clearly correct. Yeah, a lot of obvious team options being accepted. Don't think free agency is going to be really anything to write home about. So they're saying yes to offering the qualifying offer to these guys. Yeah, I agree with the no on Alfred Baker. I'm not sure if I necessarily feel like offering the qualifying offer to Jeff Turner, Michael Cage. Cage, yes, I'll do that. I'm going to try to decline it on Turner, but I know that it's come up before where they're like, oh, they've accepted the qualifying offer, even though I didn't actually accept it. Honestly, the Spud Webb one, I'm not super crazy about either, but also I'm not going to be able to trade him. But, losing Muggsy Bogues makes me a little bit more warm to him. Let's see what this roster's looking like right now. So, yeah, I think at this point we're pretty much just like not doing anything during free agency. Got some really impressive RFAs, including our own guy here in Elijah Wan. Let's see if he's getting any good offers. Oh yeah. Bulls are offering him 4 years, 9.32 million. Honestly, I hope he accepts that one because I would be inclined to just match. Just not even deal. Like all those guys from the top of the 84 draft are getting ready to cash in right now. Lose our shooting guard? Did we lose a shooting guard? I don't know. All right, okay, Elijah wants prepared to accept an offer from the Bulls. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and match. 4 years, 9.32 million. Obviously, get in the bag. Well deserved, though. No question about it. One more. Yep. The team officially matches. We officially. I assume we're going to have 10 players on the roster. Yeah, so the fact that Richmond is the only shooting guard does seem a little strange to me. Maybe there's like a league minimum kind of guy that I could go for here. I don't know. But I think that overall, though, this is a team that's looking like they're going to be really good. Adrian Danley's available. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him back for at that rate. And the thing is, a guy that's like a 72, I should be able to get somebody like that just like readily available. Getting some like so Terry Tyler, Mike O'Koren, we're getting some like legends of St. Louis Spirits past from like more of the dark days. I'm gonna rather than just simming all the way through, I'm doing the like kind of start and see what happens because I want to have leverage over any potential matches that come through. So didn't hear anything about like Spud Webb signing. So maybe I missed something. Maybe those guys did sign somewhere else. I mean, honestly, not a huge deal if they did. Let's check out the player progression. Elijah went down one, which seems really strange, but I mean, he's still at 94. Mullen shot up. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this team, even if those other guys are just lost to the ages. Try to scout some guys for summer league purposes. Jay Baldwin, who, yeah, has just been absolutely murdering it in general. But let's be honest, I'd rather invite my guy Spud. Like, if nothing else, let's let this be your moment of glory. Cedric Tony, love having a shooting guard named Tony on the Spirits. That's just kind of our thing. Small forwards, let's go. Yeah, Tyrone Corbin, you're in. Barry Stevens, you're in. Roy Tarpley, need a couple centers. Joe Klein, who I almost drafted. I believe there's somebody else who was our guy. Olden Polynice. Pair up Olden Polynice and Scottie Pipp on the same team. If you know, you know. Simulate through, and the Spirits are the 3 seed. If we get far in the summer league, I might be willing to like play out a game. Like if it's like in the semis, I'm not going to play this game, and they got eliminated. So never mind that whole experience. But the Miami Heat win in their first year, so that's exciting for them. San Antonio's getting the All-Star game. That's fun. All right, 1989. Do that whole tradition. 1989 accurate. We are in kind of a weird lull as far as drafts are concerned, where there just aren't like great drafts. Like I'm trying to think of 89. You could get like Glenn Rice or somebody. Like there are decent enough players. Okay, so that's search. You just need to search for accurate. All right, there's our guy. Trilly to go. There we go. Let's advance to the next season. We may have to sign some kind of smaller deals here, which is fine. And we get, hey, Steve Coulter's back. Why is Steve Coulter back? I don't know. But just looking at the roster as it is, I mean, Greg Anderson might be priming to be like the next guy, like the first guy off the bench. We'll put Mitch Richmond in the starting lineup. Pippen hasn't really improved as much as I thought he would, but yeah, it's fine. I do think that we're ultimately going to have to get an actual backup shooting guard. Let's check out free agents. Michael Cooper's available. I would gladly take Michael Cooper back. Absolutely. League minimum, sold 100%. A couple other guys, like Larry Nance is available again. I don't know that we necessarily even need that, though. I'm pretty content with, yeah, we'll put Mitch Richmond there, Kevin John, like, have a couple good guards. Honestly, Mullen and Elijah might be ready to really take the next step. We really need another point guard. I kind of overlooked that, I think, in all of this, is that our point guard situation's really messed up because of where did Spud Webb go? I want to see this now. Unless he was available as a free agent still, he might have been. Yeah, there he is. That said, like Rory Sparrow's a better fit, especially now that we don't have Dennis Johnson. Might be a real like snooze you lose kind of moment here, but yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of one of these guys just to free up the roster spot. What positions do we have a surplus of, if any? Okay, we have more shooting guards than we need. but also don't really need Dante Rose. Okay, Bruce Douglas. We're going to go ahead and release you. I wish you nothing but the best. True franchise legend. I mean, if we end up having to go back to Spud Webb, that's fine, but I do feel like this is the better option is Rory Sparrow, and if he's going to take the minimum, yeah, there we go. A lesser player, but a good backup to our guy. But so at this point, Rick Smits is sitting on the bench, even though he was the number 7 pick, which does seem like slightly uncomfortable. But we have so much power at the power forward position. Realistically, let's put Danny Manning as his alternate position as being a center. He's 6'10". That makes perfect sense to me. A little on the skinnier side, but that's okay. So let's see how this rotation looks. So they actually only have Doherty getting 26 minutes. I may have to do some tinkering here, but I have to say, I think this is about right. This is about what I want to do. I mean, the whole embarrassment of riches that Rick Smits is on the bench, that whole part's weird, but maybe there's worse things than having, the young rookie, playing behind Hakeem Olajuwon and learning. Yeah, I think this team's a go. And I think this team has some serious long-term potential. Let's see if there are any contract decisions we can make. There are not. Is there any one way we can trade away one of the point guards? I like having that 3 of everything kind of position if I can get it. Okay. Dante Rose is not eligible. Kerr I could trade, but I can't imagine that's ever going to actually. Who's the better 3-point shooter between the two of them? I just want to know. It's Mullen. It's close, but it's Mullen. I mean, end of game situations, those guys might come in real handy for us. But for now, though, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night on this particular round. Don't know who we're going to go for in then looking at this draft, but plenty of drafts available. But the core of this team is set. I feel pretty confident in saying that this team is going to be pretty strong. And if you look at the team finances, estimated profit of $29 million, which, I don't care about that, but it's not like this team's going completely outrageous. $10 million team payroll. This team is just operating very efficiently. But let's go ahead and save that, and we'll get back to this another time. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe if you want to see future installments of this series. And yeah, if that other one's hit, go ahead and watch it. If not, brace yourself. It shouldn't be too long. All right, see ya.